Hey, welcome to Janine and Amy's Travel TV Live. We are so glad you're here. So, do you dream of sailing on a luxury cruise down the rivers of Europe? Or maybe it's one of your favorite things to do already. Either way, the show is for you. We are here tonight with river cruise expert Lisa Fitzgerald from Fitzgerald Travel from the great state of New Hampshire, or New Hampshire, which from where I grew up, that's what we used to call it. But it knows river cruising like Lisa. Lisa knows river cruising like Santa knows presents. So if you have a question about river cruising, make sure you pop it in the chat so she can answer it live. But before we get started, I have to say hi to my co-host, Amy. Hey, Amy. How are you?
Hey, Janine. How are you, my darling?
I'm good, thanks. I'm better. I'm sick the last couple of weeks, so I've been off.
I know.
I'm feeling better and ready to toast.
All right, good. So, hey, Fitz, raise your glass. It's Thursday. I know you had a tough day, but now you're with friends, and happy Thursday to you, my darling.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Mm-hmm. And Lisa knows how to party with her party pour. Red wine. So, Lisa, we ask all our guests, when we are finally able to get back out into the world and travel again, I'm sure I know the answer. I'm going to ask you anyway, where is the first place you're going to go?
The first place is going to be on the water, naturally.
Yes.
And the first place I'm going to go is another Christmas cruise, because I feel like everybody needs a reason to celebrate the spirit of the season. And especially after a year like we've had, a Christmas cruise is going to bring so much joy and so much peace and a lot of harmony between everybody in all the countries. So you will find me in a placa somewhere in one of the most amazing Christmas markets ever. My favorite, probably Vienna or Nuremberg. So that's where I'll be with my, ironic, it's red glute wine, is which I will be drinking. But with a straw. And glute
all Europeans drink their wine with a straw. Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Glute wine during the Christmas season is a very spiced, mulled red wine. And it's flavorful. And sometimes when you walk in the market, you get that waif of it. And they give you a little mug and drinking through the whole time. But that's where I'll be.
That sounds delicious. That sounds wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I've never been on a river cruise, so I'm really excited to talk to you about this. But I want to address the elephant in the room, which I always do, because I know people are nervous about cruising. And you specialize in river cruise and small ship cruise lines.
Yep.
So I think everyone would like to hear from you, an expert, what are the cruise lines doing to bring people back and to assure them that it's safe and that type of thing? And what do you heard?
I think everyone would like to hear.
Oh, sorry, that was me. Sorry.
Wow, did I need to hear that twice? So there have been great measures happening between the river cruise ships across the board, no matter if you're talking about normal waterways or Viking or Quasi Europe or any of those, or all have the same thing in mind, and that is everyone's safety. So on board, what they've been doing is like the obvious. Everybody is required to wear a mask. All the crew, the captain, the passengers, while they are walking about. And currently, an average ship stays around 168 for my preferred guys, of course, and 198. The river cruise lines have decided to reduce the capacity by half, which is great, right? Yep.
Holy cow.
I know.
It'd be like almost like being on your own ship.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, geez, it could be like all of our friends together. We could just fill up a ship, easy peasy, you know?
Yep.
They're putting between in the social areas, for example, the couches and the lounges, they've got up the safety partitions. So if you're back to back with a sofa, which is often the case when you're in the main room socializing, there's a plastic barrier. Temperature checks on and off.
Interrupt. Is that your dog snoring?
Again, no. Well, yeah. All right. So I got a double negative right now. So behind my office is the gym, and my husband's an avid runner, and he's on the treadmill right now. So you hear it pounding. But the dog, my English bulldog, is underneath my feet snoring.
That's awesome.
You know, I often forget about that too. So when I go on a show or I'm talking to somebody online live, if I forget to say, I'm really sorry, that noise you hear is not me heavy breathing. It's my English bulldog who is 8 and she's underneath the thing. So yeah. So that's Katie, and you guys, sometimes you forget when you hear it all day long.
Yeah, I'm like, what's that noise? But I'm sorry to interrupt. So it sounds like
no, it's okay.
They're doing a ton.
So temperature checks on and off, continual wipe down of all surfaces, protective barriers between all the public social areas and the bar. Rooms are being sanitized. I mean, all the things we're doing here to protect ourselves, all the things we should be doing here to protect ourselves, keyword should be, is happening overseas. And a shout out to some of these major companies that I deal with. They've been sailing all summer, not to North Americans, but they've been serving their own countries. As they're sailing in Germany, they're staying in Germany. They're sailing in France, they're sailing in France. And they have gone up and down the rivers with no incidents, 0 incidents, because of the great care that they're taking with all of the passengers they have on board. Yeah. So, and then moving forward, I think as we grace ourselves into 2021 and pray that North Americans are going to open the doors back to us, which I feel like they are. I think after the election, I think things are going to start sailing in the right direction.
I see what you did there. I see.
Yeah.
So are they sailing as much as in the past, or is it decreased inventory? Are there fewer cruises available?
Yeah, what they've done is they've offered clients. I'm speaking about 2 of the companies that I work with regularly. So when I'm referring them, there's 17 major river cruise lines out there. But if I'm referring to river cruise lines, I'm talking about my top 3: Amadeus, Waterways, and Avalon. They're my top 3. So I know specifically for fact what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they've been sailing since July, and they've had no incidents whatsoever.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
So it's weird, to imagine going on a river cruise right now, with anything, right? In the new way of travel, it's just so weird to think that everybody's traveling and they got, these masks on, but it's our new normal. And I hope that, my goal is that COVID is not going to kill that desire to travel and to start planning for the next year or the year after.
Yeah. And I don't think it will. People love to travel. I don't think you can put that toothpaste back in the tube in terms of,
no, you can't.
People loving to travel, because I think about it, I posted a picture today from back when I backpacked through Europe when I was in college.
It was beautiful, by the way. Really good hair.
Wait, where is that? I have to go check that out on your Facebook page.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
But back then people just didn't travel as much. And now the world is really wide open. You can pretty much go almost anywhere and do all sorts of amazing things. It's hard to imagine it going backwards. Although it's a good thing if we do take a step back in terms of trying to protect the places that have been affected by tourism. But that's a different show. So let's get back to river cruising. So I know that you love river cruising. So as someone who's never gone, tell me why.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's so many reasons why to river cruise, and I'm just going to list the first 5. Okay, say 5. So I may have a party size, but you've got a party size glass.
That's the oldest trick in the book, Lisa.
Oh my God, you have more than I do.
More.
So the first experience is it's just effortless. You don't have to think about so many things. You don't have to think about different types of outfits to wear on a cruise. You don't have to think about what all the things there are to do. What am I going to choose? You're not in an information overload because it's all so well thought out for you at each port of call. And who doesn't love food? Okay. Obviously, I love food. And the dining, it's farm to table food every night. It's all regional. And it's often you can accompany the kitchen staff and go into these markets and do like a shopping trip with the chefs and learn about the regional specialties, and then go back onto the ship and learn how to cook these things.
Yeah.
It's all fresh. But sidebar, if someone just likes their steak and potatoes, or they like their hamburgers and fries, that's always available too. So the meals, 3 times a day, farm to table, fresh. You don't have to worry about not trying all the best regional wines in the region, because wine is poured freely during lunch and dinner. Regional beer flows freely lunch and dinner, and they're all regional. It's like you're not going to find Bud Light. You're going to find the Cologne specialty beer. You're going to find the best wine from the Watchung Valley. They're all regional. It's delicious. And you never go hungry because there's always a 24-hour snack station. Again, we don't like food. And, fresh lattes and cappuccinos and coffee. But, it's not for everyone. Like, I don't want to pitch that river cruising is for everyone. It's for people who like to travel, and they're all kind of like-minded to see the historical value, the art value, the music value, even the outdoor adventure value. But they're not going to find things like, let's go to the casino at 2 o'clock in the morning, or they're not going to find, belly flop contests or anything like that. It's just effortless. Like, you don't have to do anything, yet you're enjoying it so much. It always turns out to be, and my clients always say this, more than they expected.
Is it
Absolutely.
older?
Absolutely.
Or what? So what? I know anyone goes, but does it tend to be older travelers, or is it really all different ages?
All different ages at this point. Like, the demographics have come down from like 10 years ago. The average age was like 65 to 75 and even older. Now the average age, last year's average age was 55 and older. And then with the introduction of Uniworld's B and A ships, it's kind of geared to a younger generation. So those clients are starting out to be like 35 to 50.
Yeah.
It's for everyone.
50 is a new 30, so.
Yeah, of course.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So,
I agree.
Well, and a lot of the ships have, like, not a lot, but often you can find specialty sailing. So if you have a special interest, right? So tell me a little bit about that, because I've seen different, like, with an artist on board, or special wine or something like that. What's that look like?
Oh my gosh. So it's incredible, and they're brilliant in the marketing. So you will find on all the different lines, again, I'm talking about across the board, wine themed cruises, which are cruises that are hosted by a sommelier, a winery owner, wine experts, wine growers. And what they do is they invite winery or specialists or sommeliers from all over the country to come on ship and give a few classes about wine, do wine pairings, and do an education, along with bringing their wine from their region, say Napa Valley or here in New Hampshire, bringing their wine on ship to share. But what's really special about these wine themed cruises is that you're visiting on top of the regular tours that are always available to everybody, because you can sail on a wine cruise without it having to be a wine cruise. They don't charge anything more for it, but they have these extra tours like wineries in the basement of a hospital from World War II, wineries in the Watchung Valley, harvest season, all these great things. So there's wine cruises, and then there's also something called Active and Discovery, which is perfect for bringing in that younger demographic we were talking about earlier. These cruises try to customize even more active things like hiking, but not like hiking up a hill, like hiking up a mountain to get to a castle, or kayaking down the Danube, which I did personally. It was freaking amazing. Like, you're just kayaking down the Danube, obviously with a guide and a life jacket.
And a glass of wine.
There are bikes and things like that on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep.
You have a lot. It's actually it can be as active as you want it. So if anyone thinks they're too young or it's not active enough, there's plenty of opportunity, right?
Totally. They have bikes on board. Not all the cruise lines, just some of them have really nice professional bikes on board. And you can take the bike at your leisure. Like, say you go on a walking tour of like Dernstein for the day, right? Another great wine town. You come back to the ship and you're like, I think I want to go back out, but I don't want to walk. You can grab a bike and just go through the bike paths and go to the local winery and just start sipping more wine. And then on the other hand, on these active and discovery themed cruises, you can sign up for a 25, 35 mile ride with an expert guide and a fitness coach. Someone always in the front, someone always in the bottom, but they will bike from one port of call to the other.
Wow.
Yeah. And last September,
with the defibrillator.
With the van behind, picking up
and
whoever's in the back.
No man, trust me. No, promise. I went last September and I said, was it November? We were on a wine cruise last November, and we were on active and discovery in September, wine in November. And I said, I'm going to do this. I can bike. I forgot the two cities, but it was 25 miles. I'm like, it's flat. I can do this, right? I was the last. It wasn't flat. We biked up to a freaking Parliament building on top of a hill. Thank God there was another woman. We had to like push our bikes up the hill. It was the only hill, but the fitness guy, he stayed behind us, and we're like, we're really sorry.
We may have underestimated our ability.
Oh my God.
And my husband was with me, and after the first 25 minutes, I had no idea where he was. He was like way up front. I'm like, hello.
Well, he knew the guy wasn't back, so you were
right. You were taken care of,
right? That you weren't worried about.
Yeah.
So when you're apologizing to the fitness guide, like after we came down that mountain, it was like flat from there on out. But me and this girl I didn't even know, though we're like sisters now when it ended. We would finally catch up to the pack because they would stop and wait for us, and we'd catch up, and we're like, oh my God, thank God, a break. But as soon as we got there, they took off. How was that helpful?
They were all rested. They were like, this is brilliant.
Yeah, they're like, meet us at the brewery. And that's where they went.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
True story.
That is funny. That is funny. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I know that you call yourself the river cruise matchmaker, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many options because it's not just Europe. You can go on a river cruise in Asia. Oh, hey, Lisa Fletcher says hello.
Hey,
Lisa Fletcher.
It's the Fitz and Fletch show if you were here.
We had her on a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Great Hawaii show, of course. Hawaii.
Yeah.
So how do you match your client with a river cruise? I mean, of course, if somebody wants to go to Europe or somebody wants to go to Asia, but because there are so many different options, how do you know what's the right cruise?
By asking the right questions and interviewing everybody that we meet who contacts us for a potential river cruise experience. Like every river cruise line, they all look the same, right? Most of them are the length of a football field. Most of them are like 36 to 42 feet wide. That's all the same. That never changes unless, of course, you're talking about one of Crystal's double wides and then the Magna, which is a double wide that only sails on the Danube. Do you guys know why it only sails on the Danube?
Because of the turns or the bridges or something.
Yeah, it won't fit through the locks.
The locks, yeah. I knew it has something to do with the navigation.
Yeah. So that ship is like an experience that's totally different from the other ones, but I forgot where I was going. Oh, so they're all the same that way, but each has its own personality, and you really have to be strategic with the questions that you ask your potential clients about design, style, inclusiveness, taste, region. Like you have to draw out those things from the interview that will perfectly pair perfectly pair the client with the White River Ship Company. Like, for example, If I had a client that just really is low key, business casual, likes to golf, married, they're just going for their first adventure overseas. They like simplicity, like they drive a Honda. Because that's one of the questions I always ask, like, what if you had your dream car? What would it be? What do you drive now? You know, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that client on a Uniworld. I would put on the Uniworld.
Right.
I would put someone who's really into art and design, maybe a designer who graduated from an art school, or someone who really has eclectic idealisms about what their style is. And you can actually figure that out by what people wear, you know, and the things that they say. And you can talk about some of the major art museums, like in Vienna. If someone goes like, oh, I don't really care about that, then, you know, those are the different ways to pull out and draw those things that the client really likes. And if you match them, then you've exceeded all their expectations, and they come back and they're like, oh my God, that blew my mind. Let's go to Asia.
Right. So many of the cruise lines are very specific like that. You know, they're very,
they have a niche.
Yeah.
For example, if you have a client that they just really want to go to Europe and they want a floating boutique hotel, they want all the nice things. But they don't care about organized tours. They just want to go on their own. They don't care about the wine and beer. They don't care about the included happy hour. Then I would put them on an Amadeus ship, because it's cruise only, you know, and they can pick tours that are pre-scheduled. They can pay for those in advance with packages, little, medium, or big, or they can just go and enjoy the wonderful food that's included and order a cocktail at the bar, and they're happy. That's all they need, but they're still getting a luxury product, and they're sailing for fraction of the price, and their ships are privately owned as well and new.
Yeah. The beauty of a river cruise, especially in Europe, is you can see so many countries and unpack one time.
That's right.
That is the key, because you are in a different port every single day, pretty much. There's some that you spend the night in, but you can be in different countries, and the longer the cruise, obviously, the more places you can visit, and you can select from the ones that are inclusive. You can select the adventures that you want to go on, or you can choose to just say, nope, I just want to get off the ship and I want to go meander around the town. Or you can go on the excursion. It truly is a remarkable, and I hate to say it, but a lazy way to travel, because you everything's taken care of for you. It's amazing. You don't have to think about it, because it's all there.
Like a real vacation.
It is a real vacation.
Like, that's where a professional advisor comes into play. Like, especially myself, so we're like my business partner's hyper focused on small luxury lines like ocean, and I'm just doing the rivers. And you know, you need me. Not just me, but you need someone like me, though I prefer you to just want me, because I know how to draw what you need just out of a conversation. And another thing, you know, you don't know unless you personally experience these things. Like, you can't just say, oh, I'm a river cruise expert and not have sailed. So, I mean, I have personally different river cruise lines in my portfolio, many of them. So I know, and I go every year, at least before pre-COVID, I would go sailing twice a year, no matter what. If it was when I was bringing a group or whatnot, and even when we're there, and say I'm on waterways, and if there is a talc ship next to me, I go on, like, I introduce myself to the cruise director and I say, this is who I am and this is what I need, and then I end up ultimately getting a nice tour.
Right. So
of it.
Yeah. And that's really the only way to know. So anyway, we are running out of time. This has been an awesome conversation. I would do a couple more questions. So, like you were saying, there are cruises all over the world. So you've been to Europe. Where else have you sailed? Have you been to Asia? And I know you can sail up the Nile. I know there's a lot of places too. So where's your favorite?
I can tell you where I want to go. I can tell you that because I lived in Europe for many years personally, and like 2 of my children were born there. I know I kind of stick with that genre because that's what I know the best. But my dream trip is actually to go on the Mekong, and we were going to do that when Michael retired, and he just retired 3 years early. So that's going to be on the docket prior to 2023. But my dream destination, I really think, is in Mekong for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the other side of the world for one.
Yep.
I've never I just never had it. So there's a yearning to try it.
Right. Sorry, my dog's barking. We have a lot of dog things going on.
It will change your life. It will absolutely change your life. That was my first river cruise, was on the Mekong.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was absolutely changed my life. And between that experience in Africa, it's a tie on which one touched my life the most. I mean, all our travels obviously touch our life, right?
Yeah.
But when you see countries like Africa, Cambodia, Vietnam, it's a completely different world. And it's not a world we live in as Americans, sure, or even Europeans don't live in this world. And so if you get the opportunity, absolutely, and I know you will, just go do it. And it's amazing. It really, it will change your life. It absolutely will.
I didn't realize about that in Mekong. We have to have a side conversation. I want to hear all about it because it's really on my desire list. It truly is.
It's amazing.
Top 5.
Yeah. And do it justice. Spend lots of time there.
I will.
That's good.
Anyway, side note.
So before we end, Lisa, thank you so much for coming on, first of all, but
you're welcome.
Top 5 tips for getting the most out of a river cruise?
All right. So my top 5 tips, my first one, of course, would be to use a trained professional who knows how to pick the right product for your travel personality. Mm-hmm. Then my next tip would be to, oh my God, there's so many tips, you guys.
Well,
I could talk about, like, you can travel and, like, really go on a river cruise in a carry-on. Like, you don't need a lot of clothes. Well, I mean, you need clothes, but you don't need a lot of clothes to go on a river cruise. But my top 5 tips is to select a river cruise line that's going to match your needs. And if you don't know what those needs are, you need to just write a list of everything that you would want on a vacation and then talk to a professional. I would always, I always do actually recommend off-season cruising. Not only because it's not for the financial savings of it all, but it's beautiful in May, it's beautiful in April, it's beautiful the first couple of weeks in June. October and November are dreamy. And the reason I say this, not because of the financial savings, but because of the crowds. I mean, no matter where you go, there's going to be over-tourism, and I'm all about avoiding the over-tourism. And it can be freaking hot in Europe on a hot summer. Mm-hmm. So my biggest tip is to go off-season, and you're not sacrificing anything at all. And then I always talk about silly things like how you spend money. Like my top tip for spending money, is, don't bring cash or buy euros to take care of everything when you get there. And there's 100 reasons why you do that.
Yeah.
My best tip, especially, let's see, you always should travel with travel insurance. If anything has proven that fact, it's this year. Travel insurance.
Right on, Lisa. Right on.
Oh,
actually,
my goodness.
It's required. Anybody who travels with me, it's a requirement. They have to sign the paper that says.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Janine, that's another show, by the way. I think we need to bring travel insurance to our fans and explain to them why it's so important. I'm putting that on the list.
All right.
Put that on the list because some people don't understand what it is. Like, I don't
exactly
need that.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
People think they're covered on their credit card, and people think their health coverage covers them, and they don't. So, but that's a whole nother subject. That's a good show, Janine.
Yeah. Other tip would be, like, let me throw in the shoes.
Oh.
I know we have 1 minute left, but the shoes are so very important. Like, when you go on a river cruise and you're going to Europe or Asia or whatever, you just need like 3 pairs of shoes. The best walking shoes you have, the most comfortable, nice looking ones for dinner, and a pair of shower shoes to walk around the ship. That is it.
That's
if you don't have good walking shoes and you don't break them in prior to going, you're going to be sorry.
That's pretty much advice for life, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
So this has been awesome, Lisa. Please tell everyone where they can find you, all your social handles and all that good stuff.
Y'all can find me at fitzgeraldtravel.com. We have all of our information there. There's a page that says contact us. We're very active on Instagram, and that's hashtag Fitzgerald Travel Official. If you go to Fitzgerald Travel, you're going to find some guy from Australia. That's not me. And then on Facebook at Fitzgerald Travel Official.
All right. All right. So you heard her. She is the River Cruise.
Can't do the heart.
Cruise matchmaker.
So
That's
thank
right.
you
I'm
everyone for coming by Janine and Amy's Travel TV Live. We can't wait to get back out into the world, and we know brighter days are ahead. And until we do, keep dreaming about travel and finding joy close to home. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.